On the night of September 12th, 1958, at precisely 11:47 p.m., Big Sam's grip trembled slightly as he clutched the handle of his handgun. The bounty stood at $50,000, a sum set by the five families for Bumpy Johnson's elimination. For 5 years, Sam had served as Bumpy's devoted protector, the one Bumpy regarded as a brother. Yet here he was, accepting the deadly assignment. The scheme seemed straightforward. Enter Lenox's Lounge, bide his time until Bumpy's attention wandered, deliver a single fatal shot to the rear of his skull, and vanish into the darkness. Sam stepped inside. Bumpy occupied his usual spot at the table, facing away, exposed. Sam pulled out his pistol, took aim, and squeezed the trigger. Click. No explosion of sound. The entire space fell into a hush. Bumpy pivoted gradually, locking eyes with Sam, and uttered those 5 unforgettable words. "I've been counting on you." What remains hidden from public knowledge, absent from the annals of history, is that Bumpy Johnson had been aware of the assassination plot for a full 3 weeks prior, and the actions he took during that period not only preserved his existence but reshaped the very dynamics of influence in Harlem for good. To grasp the events unfolding that evening at Lenox Lounge, one must first comprehend Bumpy Johnson's role in 1958. He transcended the typical criminal figure. He served as Harlem's guardian, the barrier shielding his neighborhood from the predators, eager to consume it. By the late 1950s, Harlem faced relentless pressure. The Italian syndicate, particularly the five families, had long sought dominance over the area's policy gambling operations. The numbers game generated massive revenue, folks from modest means wagering small change that accumulated into fortunes. The Italians aimed to claim it all, yet they encountered an obstacle named Bumpy Johnson. Bumpy had forged a system the Italians failed to fathom. His authority stemmed not solely from intimidation. It arose from genuine esteem. When Harlem residents struggled with housing costs, Bumpy covered them. When authorities targeted African American enterprises, Bumpy's interventions halted the abuse. When Italian thugs attempted to encroach on community ventures, Bumpy resisted fiercely. The five families had exhausted their options. They dispatched tough guys. Bumpy returned them via medical transport. They pursued talks. Bumpy declared Harlem off limits for purchase. They attempted to sway officials with payoffs. Bumpy's network proved superior. By 1958, the families teetered on the edge of frustration, and cornered individuals resort to perilous choices. Frank Costello, New York's most formidable underworld leader, convened a summit. Delegates from all five families attended. The agenda centered on the Bumpy Johnson dilemma. "We've applied muscle. We've offered cash. We've manipulated the system," Costello stated, his tone icy and unyielding. "Nothing penetrates. This individual defies reach." "So, what's your proposal?" inquired Carlo Gambino, igniting a cigar. Costello shifted closer. "We render him vulnerable. We identify the sole figure he trusts without reservation and flip that allegiance." That's when Big Sam entered the discussion. Samuel, known as Big Sam Foster, had stood by Bumpy since 1953. Standing 6'4" and weighing 260 pounds of raw strength and devotion, he'd absorbed gunfire meant for Bumpy on 2 occasions. He'd comforted Bumpy during his mother's passing. He'd remained steadfast amid clashes with remnants of Dutch Schultz's gang, amid law enforcement crackdowns, through every ordeal. If anybody possessed the proximity to end Bumpy Johnson's life, it was Big Sam. The families dispatched Tony the Collector to initiate contact. Tony specialized in subtlety. He avoided violence like shattering bones or battering heads. Instead, he pinpointed vulnerabilities, and everyone harbored one. On August 20th, 1958, 3 weeks prior to the attempted hit, Big Sam exited his residence on 132nd Street when a sleek black Cadillac approached. The tinted window descended. Tony Marinay lounged in the rear, grinning like a door-to-door pitchman. "Sam, isn't it? Big Sam, your reputation precedes you." Sam's fingers edged toward the .45 tucked in his belt. Quote, 5, quote, 6. Tony nodded toward the vacant spot beside him. Quote, 7. Sam ought to have departed immediately, but intrigue can prove fatal. He slid into the vehicle. Tony cut to the chase. Quote, 8. Sam's features hardened. His youngest child, Keisha, had battled tuberculosis for 6 months. The therapies drained their resources. Invoices from the clinic mounted relentlessly. Sam had sought aid from Bumpy, receiving $2,000 in support, yet it fell short. It always did. Tony unlatched a slim case. Within lay orderly bundles of $100 notes. $50,000, our proposal, sufficient to clear all debts, plenty to relocate your loved ones to a secure haven, a pristine environment where your daughter can finally draw easy breaths. In exchange for what? Sam queried, despite suspecting the response. A single round, a fleeting instant. Enter Lenox's Lounge on September 12th. Bumpy shows up routinely on Fridays. Hold back until his focus shifts. One precise blast to the nape. Swift, tidy, then you're gone. A getaway vehicle stands ready. Fresh personas for your entire household. Come dawn, you're in Miami. Within days, you're reborn as different people. Sam fixated on the cash. $50,000. His daughter's survival, his family's. The family's prospects hung in the balance over a single gunshot. Sam murmured softly. Tony's grin vanished. Your little girl wastes away in that run-down aid hospital. You'd go on slaving for Bumpy, glancing over your shoulder constantly, aware that sooner or later a slug meant for you will arrive. That's the inevitable, close to this existence, Sam. You get it. I get it. The sole issue is if you go out broke or loaded. Sam exited the vehicle in silence, clutching the briefcase. Tony had positioned it on the cushion, the bundles of cash on display, alluring. That evening, sleep eluded Sam. Visions of his daughter's features haunted him, her raspy breaths, her effort to grin despite the agony. Images of that case brimming with funds persisted, sufficient to rescue her, ample to offer his kin a genuine existence. 3 days on, Sam reached his verdict. He dialed the contact Tony provided. Sam declared. Tony responded. Quote, 17. Neither Big Sam nor Tony realized that prior to Sam's entry into that Cadillac, Bumpy Johnson was already aware of the overture. Bumpy hadn't risen to dominate Harlem through blind faith in others. He ascended by discerning motives, grasping that everyone carries a cost. Each individual harbors a flaw, and anyone can be purchased or shattered. Bumpy's network spanned everywhere. Bar staff, polishers, taxi operators, cleaners, folks overlooked, whom the Mafia outfits dismissed as irrelevant. Among them stood a lot watcher called Jerome, who spotted Tony Marone's Cadillac arrive near Sam's building. He observed Sam climb aboard. He jotted the plate number. 2 hours afterward, Jerome appeared in Bumpy's quarters above the Smalls Paradise Jazz Club. Quote, 18. Jerome announced, pushing a note over the surface. Quote, a 19. Bumpy examined the slip, then eyed Jerome. Quote, 20. Absolutely. I've encountered him prior. He gathers from the Mafia spots on the east side. Bumpy paused in quiet for an extended spell. Then he unlocked his desk compartment, withdrew $500, and passed it to Jerome. You observed nothing. You weren't present. Got it. Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson. Once Jerome departed, Bumpy lingered in his space for 2 hours, pondering. Sam had served beside him for 5 years. Solid, devoted periods. They'd endured battles as comrades. Bumpy had staked his existence on Sam's reliability, yet the Italians now whispered temptations in Sam's mind. And if one truth defined Bumpy's view of cornered individuals, it was their flawed judgments. Bumpy might have ended Sam instantly. A quick call, and Sam would vanish into the East River. That was the typical response for someone in Bumpy's shoes. Neutralize the danger, press forward. But Bumpy Johnson differed from the average. In the ensuing 3 weeks, Bumpy monitored Sam with keen scrutiny. He noted the tremors in Sam's grip at times. He detected the anxiety in Sam's gaze. He recognized a soul wrestling an untenable dilemma, allegiance versus endurance. Thus, Bumpy chose his path. Rather than eliminate Sam, he'd instruct him. Bumpy summoned a det from a firearm expert in Brooklyn, Victor by name, who'd customized weapons for Bumpy over 15 years. Quote, 23. Bumpy instructed. Quote, 24. Victor puzzled. Quote, 25. Quote, 26. Quote, 27. Quote, 28. Victor managed it. In 3 days, he supplied an altered point .38 special, mirroring Sam's duty sidearm. Identical heft, identical handling, utterly useless. The subsequent phase demanded exact orchestration. Bumpy aimed to exchange Sam's authentic pistol for the fake undetected. That required accessing Sam's residence during his absence. On September 8th, 4 days prior to the strike, Bumpy dispatched Sam on a task midway across the city. Retrieve a packet from a source in the Bronx. Crucial. Return only with it. The mission would occupy Sam for no less than 3 hours. Ample window. As Sam ventured out, Bumpy and his closest ally, Illinois Gordon, slipped into Sam's flat. They located Sam's firearm inside a footwear container beneath the mattress, precisely as Bumpy anticipated. They replaced it with Victor's imitation. Sam wouldn't detect the switch. Now Bumpy merely awaited. He permitted Sam to execute his plan. For should Bumpy challenge Sam before the killing bid, Sam might refute all. The Italians could recruit fresh turncoats. The pattern would persist. No. Bumpy required Sam to squeeze the trigger. He needed Sam to fully engage. Then, amid that profound disloyalty, Bumpy would expose the reality, not solely to Sam, but to everyone present, throughout Harlem, across the 5 families. The warning, unmistakable. You can't kill Bumpy Johnson because Bumpy Johnson is always 3 forward in time. It was September 12th, 1958, precisely 11:47 p.m., inside the Lenox Lounge. The venue buzzed with energy that evening, crammed with around 300 folks, musicians, schemers, entrepreneurs, and officials. A typical Friday in Harlem pulsed with jazz rhythms, cognac flows, and chats that molded the area's destiny. Bumpy held court at his favored spot in the corner, chatting with a pair of city council members about an upcoming residential project up in Sugar Hill. Dressed in a flawless gray suit, his signature fedora lay on the table next to a glass of Hennessy he hadn't touched. Big Sam showed up at 11:30. He'd knocked back a few drinks, sufficient to calm his jitters, but not to slur his steps. Tucked in his coat pocket sat the .38 special, the revolver he'd toted for 5 years, convinced it would line his pockets with $50,000. Sam stationed himself by the bar, observing, biding his moment. Bumpy's back faced him, deep in discussion, exposed. Right at 11:47, Sam advanced. He threaded through the throng, hand buried in his jacket, fingers clenched around the weapon. No one batted an eye. Sam often lingered close to Bumpy. As the bodyguard, his nearness felt routine, anticipated. He closed in behind Bumpy's seat, 6 feet off, then 4, then 2. He yanked out the pistol. The barkeep caught sight first. His gaze widened in shock, but before a yell could escape, Sam had leveled the barrel at the nape of Bumpy's neck and squeezed. Click. The empty snap of the hammer striking air rang out in the abruptly hushed space. The jazz ensemble halted on a half-played note. Talks cut off mid-phrase. All 300 heads swiveled toward Big Sam, frozen, with a dud firearm trembling in his grasp, while Bumpy Johnson remained seated, utterly composed without so much as a twitch. Bumpy lifted his cognac for a deliberate swallow. He placed the glass down with care and pivoted in his chair. He fixed his eyes on Sam, simply stared, and that gaze held something far scarier than fury. It was regret. "I've been relying on you," Bumpy murmured softly. Those 5 words struck Sam deeper than any shot could, for in that instant, clarity hit. Bumpy had been aware. He'd grasped it all. The overture from Tony Marinette, the $50,000 payoff, the scheme, every detail. Rather than ending Sam or dumping him in the river, Bumpy had permitted him to enter this place and attempt the deed, allowed him to unmask himself before 300 onlookers, allowed him to shatter his standing, his dignity, right in the heart of the community. Sam's revolver dropped with a clatter. His knees buckled. He collapsed to the floor. "I'm sorry, God," he gasped. "I'm sorry for my daughter." Bumpy cut in. His tone stayed low, yet it pierced the quiet hall. "I've known about her troubles for 6 months. Do you figure I ignore my own?" Bumpy fished into his coat and extracted an envelope. He let it fall onto the table. Kesha's hospital invoices, every last one, settled completely that very morning. Plus a $5,000 check inside for your loved ones to cover any needs. Tears welled in Sam's eyes. "But why keep it from me?" "Because I had to be sure," Bumpy replied. "I had to see if you'd pick cash over trust, if you'd trade their 50 grand for our bond." He halted briefly. "And now I do." Bumpy rose, though not imposing, at 5 feet 11. "You'll exit Harlem by tonight. Gather your kin and vanish. I don't mind the spot, but should your mug cross my path again, or your name reach my ears, no further mercy. Got it?" Quote 38. One more thing, Sam. Quote 39. When the Italians grill you on tonight's fiasco, recount it true. Tell them Bumpy Johnson was onto it. Tell them he's always been. Tell them loyalty in Harlem isn't purchasable. And warn them that if they pull anything similar once more, my leniency ends here. Sam hauled himself up on wobbly feet, snatched his worthless piece, and exited the Lenox Lounge. He'd bolt from New York that same night and stay gone. Word had it, he ended up laboring on building sites in Detroit, a shattered soul burdened by his treachery till his dying day. Once Sam departed, Bumpy faced the assembly. 300 pairs of eyes locked on him, mute. They'd beheld the unthinkable. A fellow had just attempted to gun down Bumpy Johnson, and Bumpy had transformed that attempt into a teaching moment. "Hear this plain," Bumpy declared, his words reaching every nook. "The Italians believe they can purchase us, believe they can split us, believe they can claim Harlem since we're broke, since we're black, since we supposedly don't count. They're mistaken. Harlem's not on the market, never has been, never will be. And anybody imagining they can alter that Anybody thinking they can stroll into my turf and acquire my community, they'll discover what Big Sam just did. We don't require safeguarding. They do. Quote, 43s. To Harlem and to allegiance, money can't touch. 300 glasses lifted in reply. To Harlem, the jazz band. The game restarted without missing a beat. Chats picked up right where they left off. In no time. It felt like the drama never unfolded. Yet, it had changed absolutely everything. News of that evening raced through New York's criminal circles faster than a spark in dry grass. Come dawn, every wise guy between Boston and Baltimore was buzzing with the tale. Bumpy Johnson had been aware of the assassination plot for 3 full weeks. He allowed it to unfold on its own by exposing a turncoat right in view of 300 onlookers. He'd orchestrated the whole thing without a single drop of violence. The very next day, the 5 families convened an urgent summit. Frank Costello exploded in rage, not toward Bumpy, but at Tony Marinette for botching the job. Carlo Gambino, however, spotted a deeper truth. This guy's unbeatable. Quote, 45. We've thrown the kitchen sink at him. Brute strength flopped. Cash bribes flopped. Flipping his insiders flopped. No matter our angle, he anticipates it every step. So, what's our next play? We steer clear of Harlem. We pour our efforts into Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx. Anywhere but there. Harlem's Bumpy's domain. And pushing for it will just drain our funds and manpower. Hands off Harlem. We can't topple this force. It marked the initial instance when the Italian syndicate yielded ground without exchanging gunfire. Bumpy Johnson enjoyed another decade of life post that showdown. He passed in 1968, felled not by gunfire, but a cardiac event. Fittingly enough, inside the very Lenox Lounge where he'd confronted Big Sam. Yet the real takeaway from that night often escapes notice. The deadliest tool isn't firepower, it's foresight that outpaces your rivals. It's flipping their scheme into your triumph. It's mastering chess as they fumble with drafts. Big Sam pocketed $50,000 from the syndicate. He fled New York carrying only disgrace. Meanwhile, Bumpy returned to his favored spot, savored the last of his cognac, and continued ruling Harlem unchallenged. Hey, if this tale fired you up, smash that like button fast. Not subscribed? Come on, join the crew. We're unleashing fresh Bumpy Johnson epics daily, and the upcoming ones wildly more intense. Leave a comment. Think Bumpy could have played it another way? Would you have spared Sam's life? Oh, and flip on those alerts. Next week, we're diving into how Bumpy Johnson strolled into Lucky Luciano's domain without a weapon and emerged with the score of a lifetime. Trust me, you can't skip it. Up in Harlem, respect came through hard-won grit, and Bumpy Johnson claimed every bit of his.